semi flips off the side of Interstate 44.
Finally, a little sunshine, but the question is, how much are we actually going to need to get a little bit of a melt on the way? We'll have the latest from the Skywatch Weather Center.
And the controversy surrounding a big bridge in the Netherlands and the even bigger boat that can't fit under it.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
3 down, 6 to go. A judge sentences a third defendant in a 2020 Lawrence County murder and kidnapping. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, a third suspect gets prison time. In 2020, authorities say 9 people played a role in the shooting death of 27-year-old Sarah Pascoe from Aurora, Missouri. They were also involved in the non-fatal shooting of another woman. That victim escaped and told deputies her friend had been killed. Now this week, Christina Knapp pled guilty to first-degree robbery and first-degree kidnapping in connection with the case. The judge sentenced Knapp to 15 years for the robbery charge and 10 years on the kidnapping charge. Those sentences are to run consecutively. You can read more about the crime, including the sentences for 2 other suspects, on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Raise your hand if you're ready for a warm-up. Yes, thank you, Michael. Both of them, for sure. Michael Hayslip joining us with the first look at the forecast.
Tanya, roads are getting a little bit better, but still frigid cold. Here we go. We got the Missouri Department of Transportation camera on I-44. This is mile marker 6, so just 6 miles east of the Oklahoma-Missouri state line. And while the top part here, you look at that, you go, oh, everybody's cruising right along. Look down here, bottom left-hand corner. See that? Those patches of ice that remain in the shade, those are going to stay with us all throughout the weekend. So don't think that just because everything on the top part's looking good, that you're not going to run into some black ice throughout the course of not only today, but tomorrow as well. But at least it is a beautiful Friday. And really, now that that wind's kind of died down, it almost seems tolerable outside. Maybe we're just used to it being so cold, because our temperatures right now low to mid-20s, and we're going to stall out right here. Not a whole lot of a warm-up. We're not going to quite get to the freezing mark today. Factor in that wind, because it does roll in from the north. Wind chills have at least made it out of the negative range and into the teens, and that's pretty much where they'll stay too. We may be able to scrape out a wind chill number that gets up to 20, but that will be about it. Our weather trend as we dip into overnight. We're going to have more freezing cold weather, single-digit wind chills once again. Now, with that being said, we have been able to eliminate any wind chill advisories that we have. Those are actually sitting out to the west of us through portions of central Kansas down across the Oklahoma state line. But doesn't mean it's not going to be dangerously cold. If you do need to be out on a Friday night, then the best thing to do would really, because our roads are not all the way clear as of yet, play it easy. Got to get back before it gets too dark right there. We finally begin our melt in earnest, say come Sunday, because really Saturday, yeah, I know that's above the freezing mark, but when you've got 6 to 8 inches, it takes a little bit for all of it to melt off.
All right, keep an eye on that for sure. All right, thanks, Michael. Well, a massive winter storm is moving into the northeast after causing havoc in many other parts of the country. Midwest is digging out for more than a foot of snow, and today's snowfall could reach 18 inches in parts of Ohio, New York, and northern New England. Other areas are covered in ice because of freezing rain. Hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses have lost power. And in Alabama, a tornado killed 1 person yesterday and injured 8 others. Manuel Bojorquez reports from Hale County, Alabama.
The tornado that touched down here in Hale County Thursday caused a wide path of destruction. Fueled by high winds from the winter storm, the twister cut through multiple homes, shredded trees that littered roadways, and even caused enough flooding to swallow vehicles. In Lebanon, Missouri, a clear sign of the treacherous road conditions as a semi-trailer flipped off the side of Interstate 44. One driver struggled to get his car back on the road as multiple vehicles were stranded by the heavy snowfall. Elsewhere across the Deep South, a deep freeze, plunging temperatures leaving more than 100,000 without power in Tennessee. As the storm moved through the state, in Memphis, trees buckled under the weight of ice and crashed into homes as drivers slid off highways. Temperatures dropped so low in Belmont County, Ohio, the mixture of freezing rain, sleet, and ice forced officials to declare a level 2 emergency, warning drivers to stay off the highways.
I'm going to my mother's to be rescued to get warm.
Meanwhile, in Texas, the sub-freezing temperatures are leaving thousands without electricity as utility workers cut back trees heavy with ice and snow, threatening to damage power lines. Many in Texas are worried about a repeat of last year's deadly power crisis.
Deja vu, right? Last year, same thing.
Manuel Bojorquez, CBS News.
The National Weather Service described the tornado that came through Alabama as large and extremely dangerous, and officials are still surveying the area looking for possible victims. The one confirmed fatality was a woman whose mobile home was thrown across the street. Well, the U.S. says it has evidence that Russia was planning a fake video of a Ukraine attack on Russia as a pretext for an invasion of the country. The U.S. has not released any evidence to back up the claim. This comes as Russian President Vladimir Putin arrived in Beijing to shore up support with China's leader Xi Jinping. The two issued a statement denouncing NATO expansion into Eastern Europe and blames the U.S. and the West for destabilizing the region. Well, now to China, where the opening ceremony of the Winter Olympics is underway in Beijing. These Olympics are hugely controversial. China has been widely criticized for human rights abuses, including mistreatment of pro-democracy activists and ethnic minorities. The athletes are focused on their events, which started ahead of today's ceremony. Jamie Yukis is covering the Olympics in Beijing.
Organizers of the opening ceremony hope to ignore the politics and broadcast to the world their vision and theme for the Games, together for a shared future. For the Parade of Nations, a twist for Team USA. Teammates chose curling legend John Schuster and bobsledder Alana Myers-Taylor as flag bearers. But Brittany Bowe will walk for Myers-Taylor since she's still stuck in a Chinese isolation hotel after a positive COVID test.
Are you so excited that you were named a flag bearer?
I'm a first-generation immigrant, and so to have all that history and to know what the American flag means to my family, like, it is huge to be asked to carry it.
Myers-Taylor recently spoke out to critics who say she and other athletes should boycott the Games over China's human rights record. In an op-ed for USA Today, she acknowledged those concerns, but wrote, "To go to Beijing and compete as an American, a woman, a person of color, and as a special needs parent says more than any boycott could." Beijing is the first city to host both summer and winter games, and each carried controversy surrounding human rights abuses. Chinese authorities have countered, saying governments should not bring politics into the Olympics.
The fact is sports has been political from the beginning of time, and every Olympics has had an element of politics in it.
The Games have already been underway for a couple of days now. This morning, U.S. medal hopeful Nathan Chen skated flawlessly in his short program that was part of the team event there. And while the U.S. women's hockey team beat Finland in their opener, they did lose a major player for the tournament. Forward Brianna Decker went down with a painful injury to her lower leg. Jamie Yuka, CBS News, Beijing.
That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon, a historic Dutch bridge is set to be dismantled in order to make room for a billionaire's boat. We'll take a look. And later, we're making chicken and dumplings in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen. A giant super yacht, reportedly owned by Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, is causing big waves in the Netherlands. Critics are angry a historic bridge might have to be dismantled to make room for the billionaire's boat. CBS's Tina Kraus reports.
It's a bridge over troubled waters in the Netherlands as city officials in Rotterdam consider a plan to take apart the historic structure to make room for this. The largest sailing yacht in the world, believed to be owned by Amazon boss Jeff Bezos.
The more money you have, the more power you get, even though it goes against the principles of the city.
The 95-year-old bridge, rebuilt after the Nazis bombed it in World War II, is too low to accommodate the massive vessel built in the city's historic shipyards. It's 417 feet long and will have 3 giant masts more than 100 feet tall. While some residents don't mind if the bridge is temporarily dismantled, she says it creates work. If Bezos pays for it, I only see upsides. Others are seething, planning to protest by pelting the yacht with rotten eggs when it sets sail this summer. As controversy swirls, Bezos representatives aren't commenting, and city officials are hoping for smoother sailing as they navigate public pressure. Tina Kraus, CBS News.
Well, California's Democratic Congressman Adam Schiff tweeted about the controversy, writing, "If Jeff Bezos can pay to dismantle a bridge in the Netherlands to fit his super yacht, then his company should have no trouble paying its fair share in taxes so we can build bridges in America." Still to come on the KOAM News at Noon, Mr. Food.
If you like the idea of a dish that has long cooked taste, but you don't have time for all that long cooking, make sure you join us today.
But first, Michael Aislip returns with your complete forecast.
Finally, a noon hour where we don't have to go immediately to the radar, check what's down to the south, see if we're going to get any more snow. We're finally done. We're done with everything. Now we just got to warm up a little bit. We got down as low as 6 degrees this afternoon, or this morning, according to our daily almanac on this January the 4th. That's only 10 degrees off that record that was set back of -4 in 1996. And there we are, the snow-covered ground outside the mothership. At least we get a little sunshine, but you can tell the colder temperature is very pervasive throughout the entire Midwest, as we're pretty much on par down in those 20s with everybody else in the entire four-state area. Skywatch Storm Tracker does have the cloud cover that has cleared off, and like I said, nothing down to the south. We don't have to bebop down here and see what's coming out of the Oklahoma City area, so that's a little relief. And we've been talking about our travel conditions. While not pristine by any means, let's take a look at, let's go to mile marker 9 right here over 44, give you an idea as you're headed right into Joplin. Here's what we all need to pay attention to, though. You can tell the wet spots and the slush, especially right there. That's all going to refreeze later tonight because we're going to be back down. We're below the freezing mark now, and we're going to be back down to single digits here by the time it's all said and done. But it is nice to see people actually a little bit more out and about today, braving that cold but not having to worry about the snow coming down sideways. Here's where we stand temperature-wise, 21 to about 25 degrees. Wind not as bad as what it was yesterday. And even a little shift, as you'll notice now, it begins to work in from the west. That will help us out temperature-wise really tomorrow and Sunday. Not so much for today because our wind chill is just going to maintain the mid-teens for the most part. Now, this is kind of crazy right here, though. We're warmer right now than what we were yesterday. In some places, we're 10 to 12 degrees warmer right now than what we were yesterday. I think yesterday it just didn't matter because nobody wanted to go out in the snow to begin with. Watches and warnings still dot the mid-Atlantic up to the northeast as the strong storm system that Tanya let us know about earlier, not only bringing, of course, the snow and the ice up in New England, but also, too, a chance for severe thunderstorm activity, perhaps even tornadoes into the deep south and mid-Atlantic, and clearing off there after you get on the west side of the Mississippi. As we take a look at our weather trend for today, like I said, you might as well enjoy the sunshine while we still have it, and a future track that is void of any precipitation. We're actually going to be cool and dry here for really the next 6 or 7 days. There's not a whole lot of action on the horizon. Get that cloud cover to kind of come and go. You know, ideally what we would have would be a sunny afternoon and then build our clouds at night, kind of trap in some of that and help us melt a little bit. But at least, like I said, we're headed in the right direction because we're going to throw up some 40s by the time that we get into Sunday. As far as the massive system itself, it's already been responsible for canceling some 3,300 flights today alone. 3,300 flights today alone, either in, out, or within the United States. But it's almost like as quickly as it blows through the Northeast, and of course it'll take them several days for them to clean out of that mess. By the time we get to Saturday and Sunday, things have really calmed down quite a bit. You see that cold streak that lasts from Illinois through Indiana and Ohio that makes its way to the coast. But then if you drop down to the south, you see the color contour of Texas right there, starting to turn that bluish green, and that's not bad, seeing as how we're mired in the bright purple, an indicator of the very, very cold temperatures. There we are Saturday afternoon, getting close to feeling like it's 30, and then the 7-day forecast. But Tanya, I hate to, be up on the soapbox and keep on banging the drum. It's the overnight lows that we always need to be wary of. We're already seeing the slush on the roads, which is a good thing. Easier to drive in slush than it is in snow, than it is in ice. Mm-hmm. But if you're going to be out and about early or late, it's just going to freeze right back over.
Yep. Hopefully they'll have time to get all that slush cleared off
Right.
It'll loosen up, they can clear it off, and there'll be nothing to freeze.
Break out the beet juice.
That'd be nice. Yes. Stop dropping frozen beets.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Michael. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Sergeant William Tucker in the U.S. Air Force. The soldier from Miami, Oklahoma, joined the 13th Air Force Wing stationed in the Pacific Islands from 1942 to 1945. He worked as an Army Air Force teletype specialist, earning a number of honors, among them the Pacific Service Ribbon with 2 silver stars and the Distinguished Unit Badge with 1 bronze oak leaf cluster. To Sergeant William Tucker, we thank you, our four-state hero. It is National Homemade Soup Day, so why not warm up your kitchen with a new recipe tonight? Howard shows us how to make an easy chicken and dumplings in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If you like the idea of a dish that has long cooked taste, but you don't have time for all that long cooking, then you're gonna go head over heels with the one-pot wonder we're making today. Plus, it's hearty, comforting, and very budget friendly. Here we're sauteing some celery and carrots. Sauteing them brings out their natural sugar, which will add so much flavor. To that, we add a generous amount of chicken broth, some poultry seasoning, and a bit of black pepper. And we bring the whole thing to a boil. Here we have some biscuit baking mix combined with some milk to create a soft dough. We'll cut this into strips, and these will be our dumplings. Now we add them to our boiling soup, cover it, and let it simmer. Once they're cooked through, we stir in some cooked cut-up chicken, and it's time to ring the dinner bell. The whole thing from start to finish takes less time than having a pizza delivered. And just wait until you try these Amish-style dumplings. If you want to make our chicken and dumplings tonight, all you have to do is visit our website. I'm Howard with Kelly in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a warm and cozy way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Looks good. Here's a look at our four-state market prices.
This will be our coldest night of the year. Just a couple of safety tips while traveling. Make sure, number one, you have sunglasses because sunshine for the next several days. And that sunlight really is reflecting very heavily right now off that snow. Also, too, watch out for elevated surfaces, especially metal ones with the ice that you go, well, it's not going to be below freezing. That sun hits those metal surfaces. That ice is going to start dropping in no time, probably this afternoon.
Yeah, be careful out there.
Sure.
What do we have coming up tonight at 5?
Well, at 5 today is National Go Red for Women Day. In Health Watch, we're going to take a closer look at what you need to know about the #1 killer of women, heart disease. Plus, Freeman Hospital staff go red for women to raise awareness of heart disease. And a delivery service created during the pandemic is now needed due to snow-covered roads. Here from the Cherokee County Sheriff's Office making deliveries today. Join us, KOAM News at 5.
All right, thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.